are listening to Aim Higher, a Catholic podcast designed to instruct and to encourage the daily practice of our faith. Pax et bonum, peace and good to you all. You're listening to Aim Higher. This is Father Anthony. Along with me is Sister Catherine. And today we're going to be talking about, well, a very joyous topic, a very fun topic, Christmas, but more particularly like what our favorite Christmas hymns, traditions, kind of going down the path of memory lane a little bit here, and let's see what our conversations will foster from these topics, sister. How you doing, sister, today?
I'm doing pretty well. It was quite the busy day. We actually we organized a church cleaning day today. And so, it's a small chapel, but we still had 6 people helping out, and it was nice to get a nice deep clean in there. So I think we're going to make this kind of a quarterly thing.
Mm-hmm.
So plus we have a new to us vacuum. So I've been very excited about that. Just getting ready for Christmas. We're still 2 weeks, 2 weeks from tomorrow. So yikes. But it's weird to think because of the way Advent laid out, like tomorrow is the 3rd Sunday in Advent. Of course, if you're looking at the Franciscan calendar, it says the 3rd Sunday after Advent. I don't know what happened, but I'm not the only one that missed it. Anyway, my friend told me, say, "Oh, people probably won't notice, sister." Of course, I know I put it out on the internet. It's just, it happens. I think I've gotten over it.
No, well, it's there's a lot of it's one of the things when you have the copy and pasting option.
But the mistake does not make sense. And I do apologize if that causes issues for people. I did joke to say, well, if it says the 3rd Sunday after Advent, I could listen to Christmas music, which is not actually
true.
That'd be what, following the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law.
Yeah. And also the mistaken letter of the law.
Right. Even though the calendar says one thing, doesn't change the fact that it is actually Gaudete Sunday.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Gaudete Sunday.
So
rejoice.
Yes.
It was a busy day for me too. I finally broke down. I finally took the plunge. For years, I'm like, I am just going to get a fake Christmas tree. And I finally did it. Thing is that they're not cheap. If you get a nice one. But I figured, what you'd have to spend, because we used to get our Christmas trees from one of the parishioners. Their grandson used to grow them. And we used to get a tree, every year, but we don't get that now. And know what I've had to pay for them in the past, and it's just no. And the thing is, when you try to maintain the proper schedule for the celebration of Christmas, and by meaning not prematurely celebrating along with the rest of the world, but celebrating it as we're supposed to do as Catholics, beginning on Christmas Eve, you don't want to put your Christmas decorations up too prematurely, too early. Now, what's too early?
Right.
It depends. It depends upon your situation.
Absolutely. Well, even if you were to buy a tree like a few days before you plan on putting it up, it's probably been cut a long time before then, so it's already losing its
luster.
For sure.
And it's also slim pickings.
That, and also, even though Brother Thomas is there, but you don't really have someone to make sure it stays watered, and clean.
That's true. That's true. And I'm figuring, you know what? I don't think.
How tall is it?
I got a 9-footer.
Cool.
It was it's a nice full one, and it's got the holly kind of in it, and along with pine cones, and it's like, yeah, I like this one. I wanted to get one that didn't have lights because they're cheaper, but I couldn't find one that didn't already have lights in the tree.
So it already has the lights.
Yeah, I just gotta open it up, put it together, and
that's actually kind of cool.
That is nice.
And I know, there are people like, it has to be a real tree, it has to be a real tree. I mean, I do like a real tree, don't get me wrong, but this is practical. I mean, we're going to have a real tree, but we don't keep it up very long, only because of fire hazard potentiality, I guess.
Yeah.
So usually that's when the fire department, wants to come pay a visit, is right after Christmas. So, and it's on the other side of the heater and all that jazz, but bringing up, the tree for the church, I do like the setup that you have going on in Wabaka, but it makes me think of early on when we were in Milwaukee, and I remember, I have some vague memories. It may have been the first Christmas we were actually in the building on Lisbon. I remember there were a whole lot of people helping out, and I remember we used to have 3 big trees, and this was back. This was back when the setup was where the crying room was. So, and of course, it was that year that at midnight mass we did the procession to "O Come Little Children," and I was dressed up as an angel, and you were barely 3 years old, and of course we're all holding candles, and poor little you. Your candle went out. And see, the thing is, our grandpa had a camcorder, so he was recording it. So it's actually forever etched in our minds. But that was, even though as a kid, when they were getting ready, you didn't really necessarily do much, but you saw the people working together and getting things ready for Christmas. And it just made things much more special.
Well, it was, so we had the school, and I one of my most fond memories, probably this would have been when I was in the 1st grade, because by the time I got to the 2nd grade, we moved the school to the big blue room.
Okay.
Instead of being in the front room.
So you actually went to elementary school in the front room?
Yep, my 1st year.
Wow, I thought by the time you came along, you would have been in the.
But that was my 2nd year. Yeah, and
just picturing it.
I know, yeah, and I just remember sitting there and class, and you had Bill and Kathy Rupplinger coming, walking in and out. Dad walking in and out, other parishioners walking in and out, helping with the decorations, and to this day, whenever I smell Brute aftershave, I think of Dad, and I think of that memory of him walking in for Christmas. So that is etched in my memory.
Well,
I will always think of little boy in this room looking over and seeing his dad walk in, getting with Christmas decorations. And
well, speaking of smells linked to Christmas, whenever I would smell spray paint, it makes me think of Christmas. And the reason why is because we also did plays, which we could talk about a little bit, but with getting the sets and whatnot, spray paint was used by someone. So every time I have a little waft of it going on,
a whiff.
I mean, I don't sniff spray paint. I haven't been around spray paint in a very long time, but it's kind of how your memories really work, and it's kind of exciting. But I think it was really good for us to see the grown-ups take action, getting involved. because it is your church too. We're responsible for taking care of it. And that was kind of like the whole premise of, yes, the chapel here in Rochester is very small and I can maintain it, but there's just some things like moving the pews and getting that deep clean is a little too much for just me.
Mm-hmm,
so, you know what? There's people here, they're willing to help. And they're just like, sister, just let us know. We will come help you. And we were done within an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it is realizing that people want to help. They just kind of don't know what, they need, they kind of need you to tell them or be a little bit more specific. So, I did have offers to set up for Christmas, but I said, we're just putting up a tree and a nativity scene.
It's kind of a general lesson. It's if sometimes you need to go to someone and ask them. It's not that they're not willing. It's just due to their schedule, their other responsibilities. It doesn't always occur to them into helping with out at church. So you have to go to them and ask, bring it to their minds. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just there are people who are in a position where they can think about it on their own and volunteer. Others need to be recruited. There's nothing wrong with being recruited. No. It's just two different avenues that you're taking to reach the same goal and hoping to inspire the dedication to maintaining the church.
Well, and I also think being involved in some way helps add to the reminder that this is God's house. Jesus is present in the tabernacle. It really should be well kept and as nice as possible. And we could all feel after today just the difference. So so just very, very exciting.
It was very exciting. And it's just the memories that I have, like at school, and just with one thing I told, who did I tell this to? I think it was some of the kids here. Yeah, it was during the class. Yeah, this was last Sunday, I think, and I was going down memory Christmas lane, candy cane lane. Anyway, they I was just saying that I remember, like, we would have school on Christmas Eve. And they'd be like, whoa. You went to school on Christmas Eve? Says, yeah. I mean, if Christmas Eve was on a Saturday or on a Sunday, no. Right. But if it was on a school day, yeah, we had a half a day.
But that day was awesome.
But that day was great. And and especially since, Mom wasn't able to pick us up until like after 4:00, we hung out with Father Joseph, and we were helping doing last minute decorations and doing a lot of other preparations. And it was fun. I remember one year being there, and I was with, I know Jeanette and Marianne Rupplinger were there. And I remember Father Joseph had the Homecoming playing. The Walton, the Waltons.
We watched that last year.
It's the Walton prequel. It's like almost like the prequels.
Right.
Yeah.
The kids are the same.
The kids are the same.
Grandma's the same, and that's about it.
Yeah. But some that's etched in my memory, and
people are like, why is going down this memory lane so important? And I think I have an answer for that, is because I think a lot of times parents question choices that they make, the things that they encourage their children to do, or more or less make them do. Like, well, we're going to do this, and the kid's gonna, probably be unhappy about it. Not every time, but there's times where the kid's really like fighting you on it, rebelling you on it, and part of it is just, they're growing and either they're getting older, they're developing their maturity. And it's just that as we as adults, we can look back objectively that those were good things for us. Like, I can't say like every time I was so excited. In fact, I remember a few times as a child, because we always went to midnight mass. And midnight mass was a big deal. And I just remember thinking, it's like, why can't we be like normal families that go to bed at a normal time and then wake up Christmas morning and it's Christmas? Like, why can't we do that? Like, why? This is so unfair. It was just very few times that I would think that. And yet those few times do not, even the rest of it outweighs those few times, those few moments. And it's just like with anything, we can look back at decisions our parents made. It's like, yeah, they did the best they could, or they thought they did what was right. And things are good for us, whether we realize it at the time or not. And so I am very grateful. I don't think I ever felt forced to help out, but we also know when you get to be a teenager, you want to start, being your own person and, speaking up for yourself. And sometimes that means that, well, I don't want to do this. And I'll admit, there's times I look back, like, man, why did I have to be such a fuddy-duddy? Like, why couldn't I just help out? Because you're happy you're helping out. Like, you know it, but you're just trying to pretend it's not a thing. All that to say is that, there's nothing wrong for parents to insist that act of charity it's not going to, ruin your child. Even if they complain about it and bring it up years later and try to make you feel guilty, that's just probably some immaturity on their part, and they'll see the light someday. That's at least what we pray for. But I think so, because
well, that's
it's part of growing up.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be your kid. You don't really, because when it starts to happen, like, oh no, this is like, how am I going to stop this? Like, sometimes it's just like, you can only do so much and just be patient. And I know we definitely tried our parents' patience. So, but we all have, and we see how we've turned out. And obviously we could have turned out obviously better if we were trying to strive to live in God's graces, but we're not dead yet, so we still have time. At least,
yeah, it's true.
At least a little bit, anyway.
Yeah.
So, anywho,
well, yeah, that's kind of the thing that parents and really anyone in their life can go back and say, I could have done this, I should have done that, but especially with parents, you're learning as you go, and you have to make in that moment the best decision. As long as your decision has the best interest of your child at heart, it's not a bad decision.
Right.
And make sure your intentions are the good ones. As long as your main goal and your purpose is to raise your children in the faith and save their soul, that's the thing that matters. And that's the thing that was always impressed upon me. That's the most important thing, your soul. It doesn't matter what you do in this world. Doesn't matter if you're a surgeon. If you are, good for you. If you're a lawyer, good for you. If you're making $200,000 a year, good for you. Or you are the garbage man, or you are a cook at a restaurant, or you're whatever other job you want. Being a park ranger would have been pretty cool. But yeah, it does look pretty good. Or you are someone who trains people in TWI. It doesn't matter what you do in this life as far as a career, as long as you do it all for the greater honor and glory of God. And that's the thing you were impressing upon.
And that's when you really will be happy. I mean, I was thinking about it just over the last couple of weeks that, I really want to go to heaven. And the idea of it just makes me happy, and loving God makes me happy. So why not just be happy? Even in the challenges, when you don't feel well, something's going amiss. It's like, but you know what? This is, God's in control. God's in control. I want to get to heaven, and I know what I need to do to get there. And there's really, no reason to let that get you down. And when something really kind of kicks you in the shin, just like, remember, but I want to go to heaven.
And it's really sad if that is interrupted, especially during the Christmas season or the times leading up to the Christmas season, because the themes that are presented to us, that of charity, goodwill, which is practically the same thing. The example of Christ, the infant Jesus in the manger. So we have humility, we have poverty, reminding us to be poor in spirit, to imitate the Christ child in this way. These are the things these are the reasons why we say Christ is the reason for the season. The season wouldn't be here. The celebration wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Jesus Christ. And it can seem like a parent, especially nowadays, is performing an act of cruelty on their children if they do not allow them to engage in celebrations prematurely. This is why when you introduce your children to Christmas, to the various traditions and customs that are attached, such as the Christmas tree, such as the Christmas candle, such as Christmas carols or hymns for that matter, you want to make sure your children understand the spiritual significance to these various customs and come to enjoy it. I mean, like telling them what the Christmas tree is about, where we get that very famous custom of putting a dead a dead tree in the middle of our living rooms. It's what do these things signify? Well, the evergreen tree signifies Christ, who never dies. It's in itself, it's a symbol, but there's so much more to it. I wasn't going to spend my time talking about various Christmas customs and that, but of course that will come into it, I suppose, in our conversation.
And I also know it is challenging in today's world, though. There is a lot of social expectations. We talked about that before, so we don't really need to dive into it, but just do the best that you can. And if you find that you have to attend a lot of things, all the more, then put it all the more in some quiet time to give it some to prayer. Especially if it's not something you regularly do, make a little bit extra time for it. And then, and if you kind of strive for that during, what's left of Advent, you might be surprised that habit's there and you'll just keep up with it. So, I mean, I am definitely counting down to listening to Christmas music. I really do like it, and I'll listen to it throughout the year. Obviously not during Advent and not during Lent, but I just really enjoy it. There's just something about it, and the traditional hymns, but I also like some of the secular songs, secular songs that are still about Jesus. So singing church. I mean, I did hear this one song before Advent started, and it had something to do with this girl singing to Santa, wanting to know if the boy she's with really loves her, so that she I don't know, goes into the new year with the right heart or something. And I'm just like, such a weird, and I'm not even really describing it very well. Probably maybe some of our listeners know this song because I think it's a new artist and not someone I'm familiar with. But it was just like, well, if you really want to know how the guy you're with feels, can't you just ask him? I mean, I get that the idea is, Santa.
Wait, what song?
I don't know what it's called. I just picked up the tail end of it on the drive home, and I was just listening to it. And of course, I'm like picking it apart because I'm just like, why would I realize it's Christmas, so Santa, and it's not supposed to be taken seriously, but at the same time, you want Santa to let you know if the guy you're with really loves you. And I'm just like, why don't you just ask him? But I'm not an expert in how relationships work.
Yeah, but that doesn't make for a good Hallmark movie if you do it like that. So,
So
you need that conflict, and you need the will they, won't they tension.
And of course, I know that they will. And I just realized I was saying the word like a lot, so I'm trying to like.
All you got to do, if you want to know the whole plot to a Hallmark Christmas movie or any Hallmark movie, all you got to do is watch a preview for one. They show you every major plot point in the preview,
They do.
And in the end, they kiss. So you're sitting there like, what am I watching? What am I know it, I know how this is going to end. Do I want to watch it just to make myself feel better? Because hey, I don't have to deal with this garbage. I'm a priest. I'll never have to deal with this. Of course, not like I ever really would. And no regular human being who's ever existed has ever had a relationship happen this way. I don't care. It's anyway, it's how it's connected with Christmas, and there you go. I mean, they add this romance to Christmas between a man and a woman, which that's kind of nice. But what about the true love and romance that we can have with the season itself, with our Lord? We use the word romance, and we think of it strictly as between a man and a woman, and love and all the facets attached to it. I'm not going to get into that, but really, when you think of romance, really being that that connection, the anticipation, the joy of being with the one whom you love. Well, that's the same thing we have with God. We just have better words to describe it.
Yes. So what is your favorite Christmas hymn, Father? Like all time?
My favorite all-time Christmas hymn is well, I'm gonna put it into two categories: my favorite Latin hymn, and then my favorite English hymn. Because it is really close. My favorite Latin hymn is Puer Natus in Bethlehem.
That is a good one.
It's just there's something about, especially when it's sung during midnight mass, and the tone of it, Puer natus in Bethlehem, Alleluia. And I can't remember the rest of the words. Alleluia, Alleluia. In cordis jubilo, Christum natum adoremus. Novo cantico. It's such a beautiful hymn. Especially when you listen to a Benedictine choir singing it, it's just gorgeous.
I guess what I'll do when we get it up on YouTube is I will find a link to that song if anybody wants to listen to it, and I actually start thinking, well, maybe I'll sing that on Christmas for Mass. Who knows? Maybe I'll be brave.
There you go.
I have done it before years ago, but see, the problem with me is, and I realize this very clearly when I was visiting Wisconsin, is that I can't, like when I was down with the congregation singing, I really couldn't sing along with the choir for the recessional. It was really hard for me. It wasn't until our friend Brian, who was sitting like a couple people away from me, I could hear him sing. I was like, okay, I can pick that up. I can't lead. I can't lead. So, but then the last time I was there, when I was singing with the choir, it was easier because I'm just so used to watching Dad letting me know, it's just how I learned how to sing. So I definitely cannot take the lead in any sort of singing.
Yeah, there's a comfort zone. There's a difference between singing it and then leading it. It says, look, I'm gonna sing. Nobody follow me. I mean, if you follow me at your own peril. I'm doing my own thing. But to answer the other half,
yes.
Oh, come, holy faithful.
Okay.
O Come All Ye Faithful is my favorite. There's something, well, joyful and triumphant.
Yes, and that was
about
usually
it.
that's the kickoff song for the program in Wisconsin for Midnight Mass. So,
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant.
although I think I prefer it in Latin.
Yeah.
I don't,
Ades ferideles, leti triumphantes, venite, venite in Bethlehem. Datu videte regem angelorum, venite adoremus, venite adoremus, venite adoremus Dominus. So actually, because that's my favorite Latin and English hymn.
There you go. See, and it's funny. So if I were to ask myself the same question, so I'll have to do English first, I guess. Well, see, the hymn I really like is not Latin; it's Italian, and that's Gesù Bambino. Love that song. Love it. It's just so amazing, and I was pretty fortunate a few years ago when I first moved here, but I wasn't, I was not Sister Catherine, and I was invited to go to a concert for the Rochester City Orchestra, and they actually did play that song, and they actually brought in a choir of kids, so that was pretty amazing. So there's just something about that song that gives me goosebumps, and I just feel instant joy.
Well, yeah, I had agree, because there is an aspect of it that is also like "O Come All Ye Faithful," and it was something about that, and I think what stands out for me, because I remember we were kids, it always started off with the men in the choir singing it, and that just really kind of, I knew one day I will be in the choir, I will be a man, and I will get to sing that part. Then I go in the choir. My dad has me sing with the women. I'm still a boy, and I have a higher voice.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
But how's it? Yeah, Gesù Bambino is such a beautiful
hymn. English, so tricky. I guess Silent Night. And I actually really did enjoy at the children's retreat because Dad played it on the guitar, and that was actually very easy to sing along with. Trying to do that sing that song without any accompaniment is very difficult for me. So, and I remember one time in school we learned how to sing it in German, which was a lot of fun. I don't.
Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht. I don't remember. I actually last year. That's all I remember. But last year, during Midnight Mass, we sang it in German church.
Very nice.
I said, Dad, I want it in German. I want to, this is southeastern Wisconsin. We're permeating with permeating. Yeah. With Germans, that's part of our heritage. And yeah.
So do you have a least favorite Christmas hymn? Not, just a regular secular song. Is there a Christmas hymn that you're like, I don't really care for?
Wow. My least favorite. Boy, oh boy. Just.
Now, I have one. It's growing on me, but it's still, it would be in the bottom, how long the list would be. It would be the last, I think. It's Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm just kind of like, I just. No reason.
Oh boy.
No reason whatsoever. Well, you can chew on that and get
Boy,
back.
that's gonna be a
And I
distraction
know it's
now.
terrible. It's terrible because like, well, it's a song about Jesus. What's not to like about it? There's just, I don't know. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah, but there are those that are well written and those that are okay. And
And oddly enough, I had been singing that song to myself. I catch myself when I'm cleaning, but it happens to be the song that will pop out. So God must be telling me something. I mean, it is a good song. It's just not my favorite.
well, I'm just trying to.
It doesn't really matter. I guess because I have one, I just figured I was going to try and make myself feel better that maybe other people are just like, yeah, I just don't really like that song.
Well, there's one that I've liked, and it's slipping my mind the name of it. That there are other people in church that don't care for it.
Is it Lo How Roses Are Blooming?
No.
Oh. Raisonette Maples?
No. Lo How Roses, that would be it.
Yeah, like
I never cared for because it was so slow.
It is.
Rose blooming. If I don't hate it, but if I had to pick one, it probably would be that because it didn't have the same festive. What was the one? It was
that people in the parish didn't like?
Yeah, there's at least one of it. It was the Polish one. It was based off a Polish hymn. Well, what was it? Babe, blessed angels, they were singing gaily, were their voices ringing, Gloria.
We never seen that really in the rotation, but James did teach that song for the kids. I thought that was a good song.
Yeah.
Probably because it was just different.
You talk about hymns. There's one that I kind of talking to Dad about, bringing back because we are doing a lot of transposing of music. We don't have the same voices we used to have, so we're lowering a lot of stuff. But it's like one I would love just to at least get instrumental is "The Day Has Come," which I thought "The Day Has Come" is a really obviously it's not a well-known hymn because it was written by our brother James, and we performed it for a few years. And I was like, why did we stop doing it? And I think it's because James wasn't happy with it. I think there was something about it he wanted to fix. He never got around to it. But I thought it was a great hymn, The day has come, let the song ring out over mountains and valleys in all the earth. The day has come, let the song ring out, the song proclaiming the Savior's birth, the song of praise that the angels sing in the stillness of the night. Of the Christ child lay amid the hay, beneath the stars so bright. Glory, glory, glory on high.
I will admit, though, as a soprano, like
soprano,
that is not exactly the soprano part wasn't always easy to sing. I mean, speaking of a song that well, I'll let you continue what you were.
I was just going to say that may have been one of the other reasons why they took it out, because it wasn't easy, and he was going to kind of fix it.
Well, the thing is that I really did not feel comfortable singing in choir until I was about 28 years old. So, and let that sink in, because you think I was involved with choir pretty much early on, but I definitely just did not. I just and then I would be the one like they have to do when we did our Christmas plays, like do the solos. I know one year I sang Away in the Manger, and I don't actually remember doing it. Like I remember practicing, but in the real actual for the play, I have no recollection of doing it. I think
yeah,
I just
all she remembers is waking up in her bed in a cold sweat. And she was told she did it, and that's all she remembers.
It's almost quite like that. But Oh Holy Night gave me a lot of anxiety, even up until really much the last Christmas I was in Wabaka. I think it got a little bit better because we did lower that too, but it just was a lot of pressure for me. And so it's just, and again, if I wasn't leading, I guess, you know, if we had a couple other sopranos that were really strong and I could just kind of like, you know, blend in, that was really more my comfort zone.
Yeah. Blending in. Yeah.
Which I can't do because I'm 6 feet tall, but
yeah. No.
So but even though like I had those anxieties, these hangups, and even in the moment I was like, oh, I wish I didn't do this. I'm so embarrassed. Like how many, you know, that's also like a development of getting older. Like when you're I said like again, you know, when you're a younger kid, a young teenager, even older teenager, when you have an embarrassing moment, that like totally like occupies your mind for hours, days, weeks, depending on who you are, maybe months. And I'm surprised, like, you know, now that I'm an adult, probably for the last, you know, I mean, I've been an adult for more than 10 years. I was going to say, but I can see now looking back, like things that would have mortified me when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you know, give or take. It's just kind of like, you know, not a big deal. And part of it's just my perfectionism.
I wish I had those problems now.
But yeah, right. But again, that's just part of like maturing, you know. It's not that I was necessarily immature. I was definitely overly sensitive, but it's just part of growing up. But I guess all that to say is, you know, again, there were things where like, I wish I didn't do this, but I'm glad I did, more or less. You know, I don't harbor any ill feelings to my parents for, you know, being in the choir. I'm glad we had that background. I really do think having that background with singing is what really kept my head above water all these years with my faith. So, because, you know, the reminder is, you know, when you sing, you're praying twice, and we're singing to give greater honor and glory to God. And it's hard not to get caught up in that beauty of it. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, do you have, I mean, I'm sure you do, your favorite secular Christmas song?
My favorite one, you know,
it's hard to, it's hard. It's hard.
You know, when it comes to those, it depends what I'm in the mood for at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I will say this as a general rule, I don't like a lot of the modern stuff. And you know, when they're adding kind of a more of a rock and roll or
flair.
that, you know, I'm old school. I enjoy like a Andy Williams, Nat King Cole, you know, Tony Bennett, back in those days, Bing Crosby singing Christmas, even though Bing Crosby's Latin was atrocious. His pronunciation, Ades fideles Leta triumphantos. Like, what the heck are you saying, Bing? You're a Catholic. Come on, I'm sure you're an altar boy.
Your
Father O'Malley, for crying out loud.
Bells of St. Mary, if anyone's
Bells of St. Mary. Bells of St. Mary. Which I will say, Bells of St. Mary, if you want to say, what's your favorite Christmas movie, Father? Religious Christmas movie as a Catholic twist. Probably Bells of St. Mary. Because it's around, it's not all Christmas.
No, Christmas is just a small nugget
of
that.
It's a small part, but
associate.
Yeah, it's that's hard. But to answer the question, I always liked Winter Wonderland.
Oh.
Okay. I always liked Winter Wonderland.
I
Here We Come a Carolyn.
Okay.
Here we come a caroling among the leaves so green. Here we come rejoicing, so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you. And 12 Days of Christmas, even though that is kind of Catholic.
It is, but
it
for me,
is
it's not just not any version of 12 Days of Christmas. I think my favorite would be John Denver and the Muppets.
Yeah,
so.
That was great. Da 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 for calling birds.
Yeah, I don't know if like this topic is going to be interesting to any people, but who knows?
No.
It's our podcast, right?
Well, yeah, that's right. I don't care if they're interested.
Well, I would say probably one of my favorite secular songs would be "Do You Hear What I Hear?" And of course, it has to be either the version by Nat King Cole or Bing Crosby. I know Carrie Underwood did her version of it, and it's I don't like it. I don't really care for her voice. I'm sorry, Teddy Carrie. Carrie understands Underwood fans. I'm sorry, but that was not the right song for her.
Do you hear what I hear? No, apparently not. Because you apparently hear that you sound good, and I hear that you don't. It's just some people don't have a voice for it. I get. You know what? I guess if you want to consider a secular hymn, because and how do we differentiate? That's a very good question. There's certain hymns that are normally sung in church that are kind of approved for church. I'm not sure if there's really ever a set criteria. They're just ones that you normally you see, like First Noel. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Angels We Have Heard on High, Joy to the World, Silent Night, and a few others, Gezo Bambino, and but there are other what you could call hymns, but we call carols that could be used in church. But God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. I always liked God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Yeah,
that actually, because it's right there. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day
to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. All tidings of comfort and joy. I was like one of the like another song. It's not like my favorite, but Mary's Boy Child. Now, the only reason I remember that song, I liked it because it was one of those that when we'd get together for Christmas,
go down
to the basement, the music room, we would play that song.
I see.
And James, of course, would lead it, and going on the keyboard really fast. So it's like, I'm not even sure what the original, when that song was actually written, what the actual tempo was. But I can't imagine. We were doing like a long time ago in Bethlehem, the Holy Bible say, Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ, was born on Christmas Day. Hark now, hear the angels sing, a new king's born today. And I'm sitting there going, I have no idea how it was originally written. And it's really hard to sing a song and play the drums at the same time. Those men who are able to do it, God bless you. I found a very hard time doing that. But that's more for the memory
sure.
that I remember that song.
I mean, well, one of the other songs I really like, and we did it for the children's retreat, was the song Christmas, which traditionally sung by Jim Reeves. And that song has a really powerful message, really. I mean, I suppose powerful. Well, it is powerful, but it sounded so cliche to say.
It's simple.
It's simple.
It's simple, but thought-provoking.
Right. And I kind of like, that would be a song that I think you could start listening to a couple days before Christmas, especially if you really want to try to help guide the children back to what Christmas is about. So the kids seem to really enjoy it. We made a coloring book based on that song.
C is for the Christ child. Yeah, it's a good song.
So I do. And that song, brings memories of my childhood because Mom would play the Jim Reeves Christmas album when we would decorate. So maybe not all the time, but it was enough of a memory. So yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff, and I think that's what's so exciting about it, and I'm just counting down. Well,
it's hard to get bummed out about Christmas when you have so many good memories, and when you recall what the night was all about. It's like the Charlie Brown's Christmas. Can someone tell me what Christmas is all about?
So
And
easy.
good old Linus, who is the paragon of wisdom of the Peanuts, he explains it so beautifully, and I just.
I know I need to go find that maybe at the library, public library.
The older I get, like I mentioned before, just how the traditions just mean more, and how important they are, and instilling them into the lives and the memories of our children is very important. And I think hymns and carols are a wonderful way of doing it. You're not every family's musical. Not every family enjoys music. So obviously, there could be other things you lean towards, but I think Christmas music, generally speaking, has an effect upon people, and especially obviously those ones that deal directly with our Lord. I just, I remember, when, we were kids and we'd be, driving over to Grandpa and Grandma's, and we'd be singing in the car, hymns, carols and stuff. And yeah, I mean, we had a decent balance of the real meaning of Christmas and the like the make believe side. I mean, like Santa Claus and all that stuff. I mean,
we were talking about that
yeah.
It was. I can't remember how old I was when I found out. I want to say I was probably at least 6 years old, and the reason why I found out is I got up one night. I don't know if I was thirsty, went to the kitchen, got something to drink. I could hear commotion down in the basement. So I go down in the basement and there's Mom, James, and Dad wrapping presents. I'm like, oh yeah, Santa's not real. Oh, okay. No big deal. But don't tell your brothers. I didn't tell you guys. I told the kids at school.
Yep.
At least one kid. I think it was Colin, my friend, partner in crime. But it didn't destroy me. And we were talking about this, was it this week? The concept of some people think, sometimes you set out to do Santa Claus great. I probably would have done the same. I guess I don't really know, but family here, they don't, it's St. Nicholas, not Santa Claus. But like the concept of like, well, if you tell your kids that Santa's real, you're lying to them. And some people I've read share stories about how when they found out Santa wasn't real, it just destroyed any trust I could have in my parents. And I think, wow, I think you're just writing this to get reaction. I mean, really, really. How old were you? I don't know. So I know that's also something parents face. Like, do I do Santa Claus? Do I not? I mean, and I think you said you were pretty young when you found out. So maybe it was the same year.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, I was about 5, I think, maybe even younger. And it wasn't like this grand revelation. It's just, I just knew. And I still enjoyed, like Santa Claus is coming to town. I still enjoyed
Rudolph
Red-Nosed Reindeer, Secret Life of Santa Claus, which is just one of the weirdest films.
Is it The Adventures of Santa Claus?
The Adventures.
Yes.
The Adventures of Santa Claus? That was the Hidden Life. Well, The Adventures of Santa Claus. It's just that Rankin and Bass.
Right. And yeah, we know they have absolutely nothing to do with the real meaning of Christmas, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy them.
Yeah, enjoy the fantasy of it.
The fun of it. Yeah.
Many of them that actually do still have a message, and a good message. The thing is that you don't want to eliminate Christ from that message. That's why I've always loved the artwork and statues of, you have the Santa Claus, the Coca-Cola Santa as we know him now, and kneeling before the Christ child. I've always enjoyed that because it's to me, it's saying, look, you can believe this myth if you want. as long as it doesn't distract you from, um, well, as J.R.R. Tolkien would say, the true myth, which all other myths are based. He was a great advocate of fantasy, because in the person who can believe in the existence of a fairy, of elves, of Santa Claus, is a person who's able to think outside the box, away from just the material world of what you see, hear, taste, and smell. There's something beyond it. It's, as Tolkien described, materialism, which is what I'm, talking about. It's like the four walls of a prison, and the people who advocate this want us to think that there's nothing beyond these walls. But if there is nothing beyond just the physical, just the concrete that we see, then how are we able to think about anything else? How are we able to conceive the idea of well, basically angels, of God himself? I mean, going beyond the creator, the deist concept of God, but the loving Father, our Redeemer, our Sanctifier. These are things that a person, a child learns a lot about faith, in those beliefs, in that imagination. And it's up to the parent to direct that course, while it's developing, to a greater love of Christ, of God, of the church. And this is done. This is a gradual process. It's not going to be done over a weekend, but it is. You do this by influencing their life with various customs and practices, especially during Christmas time, and stories. It's amazing how important stories are. And I years ago, I was one who would have said, if I had children, I would not have taught them. I would not have gone along with Santa Claus. I would have focused on Saint Nicholas, which they say, well, that's who Santa Claus is based. And there is a relation between Santa Claus and Saint Nicholas, but Santa Claus, the myth himself, is more closely connected to the Norse god Thor than to the patron saint of children. And he developed really after the Protestant Reformation, when they wanted to move away from Saint Nicholas. And I think, if I recall, it was like the Christmas man, who came down with these presents and these gifts. It was a weird thing. But I would say, as long as you still stayed away from all the ridiculous part, like the ridiculous elves, the reindeer, Mrs. Claus, and all these other things, and you looked at Santa Claus as being, this is what Father Francis Weiser suggests, that the focus being that Santa Claus is like Jesus's helper. He's the one that gathers the information about what the children want, and then also inspiring them to ask for things, for their spiritual good. And so that was one way. He suggests letting your children enjoy this innocent belief, but making sure it was never going to be the cornerstone of their Christmas. It had to be connected with our Lord. And I guess I also enjoyed it because like reading Tolkien's book Letters to Santa, letters that he wrote his children. Santa Claus describing his journeys, or they would call Father Christmas in England. What he was doing, like every Christmas, preparing for delivering presents. It was quite cute, quite interesting. I probably should look it over again sometime. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a parent uses their discretion of what they're most comfortable with.
Well, but also it just reminds us that, just like virtues in the middle, these things are in the middle. I mean, you could definitely take it to an extreme, but there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of that.
A little bit of the imagination and the wonder, but I
think it's critical to our development to use our imagination. I mean, especially now with the technology we have, we don't really have to use it. It's right there. And I mean, I remember being younger one time playing make believe in my, just by myself, and I was a hobo. It was actually really great. Like, it was going great until I got called for dinner, and then I couldn't bring it back, and I remember being really disappointed. But there was something about, I just had my wagon, and I was just gonna see the world and live in a tent, and I wasn't very old either. So, and obviously, I didn't quite become. I mean, it took about poverty, but
but you weren't jumping from train to train singing "King of the Road," so.
So, but also just speaking of like the imagination, I used to want to actually live in a little house in the backyard, and for years I couldn't figure out why I had that. Like, I really wanted to do that until I reread the story of Saint Rosa Lima, because she had a little hut in her parents' yard, and Sister Antina, being a Dominican sister, often told us stories about Dominicans, and Saint Rosa Lima was a Dominican tertiary.
Yeah.
So, and when I reread it, it's like, of course, that's why I wanted to have a little hut in the back garden and live there, because I wanted to be like Saint Rosa Lima. So, again, that's the imagination. That's like thinking about it, and that's why having these custom stories are pertinent to our development.
Yeah, I don't think we can stress too much on their importance, and encouraging, parents. It's educating yourself in these Christmas stories and legends, and you can tell your children, and you can find so many of them online. That's one of the beautiful things about the internet. It's easier to get the information, and you never know what can develop from it. I was, excited to develop my own story based on, Christmas. It's going to be in the next issue of the Cherub. It's a shorter version. It's in the works or something bigger. But it is a time of the year that does, and this is going to sound hokey, it does seem to bring out the best of people. But then again, also kind of the worst of people, because when we get too caught up in the materialism, it's it really I remember, or we've talked about this before on the program, how the older we got, obviously you and I never, got married. Obviously, we never had children. And so the dynamic of Christmas Day, and what older we got, when our grandparents passed away, and our brothers having his family, and it's just, you didn't go anywhere. Was going to church and spending the day with mom and dad, maybe going to other family, extended family somewhere, but normally that's what it was. And that's all, in the end, what you wanted. It's all you needed. Just that. It's, like you mentioned, being a kid. And I guess that thought went through my head once in a while. I was like, why do I have to go to midnight mass? Why do we have to go? Why can't we just go in the morning? Well, first thing, what I'll say about midnight mass, loved going to midnight mass when I was a kid. And I especially loved when we got home And then we had, the summer sausage, we had the crackers, we had the cookies, we had the cheese, chocolate, soda. It was kind of a little party afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Then you sleep for 3 hours, and then you jump on mom and dad's bed to wake them up. And now the older I'm getting, I'm like, oh, no wonder they always look like they wanted to kill me on Christmas morning.
Right.
But the older we got, my memories of Christmas are better than ever being a child, because we were going to mass twice a day. We went to midnight mass. We go to mass in the morning. It's like, what's a better way of spending Christmas? And not everyone has that option. Not everyone can do that. We were very fortunate to be able to do that. But to have the desire of wanting to spend most of our time with our Lord, reading about his life, or the Christmas story from the gospel, whatever we can do to sanctify this holy day, because that's what Christmas is. It's a holy day of obligation. And we have a responsibility to keep it holy. Yeah, we enjoy celebration. We enjoy being family, sharing presents. That's fine, all fine in itself, but we cannot forget about our Lord. And not being taxed down with all of that and the running around. And that's one of the things that can tire, especially a young family, is when they do like a round robin and they just keep going to place to place. And you don't get to enjoy. You don't get to really think about the beauty of the day. It's almost like I have a responsibility to see every family member I can. And they're like, no, that's what Boxing Day is for. Okay. This is supposed to be really another step in holiness.
Right. Well, and as you get older, things can change. Obviously, do change and will change. And even as a religious, it definitely looks different. I mean, we had midnight mass here last year, and then I was by myself the rest of the day, and it's okay. I just blasted Christmas music, and I know that probably would sound really depressing to people. It's like, oh, you're all by yourself. It's like but there's no point in really having any sort of feeling about it, because that's just what it is. And at the end of the day, yes, it's great to be around people and celebrating, but I feel like I'm very fortunate that I can have that automatic quiet to really reflect on the Christmas time, and maybe spend extra time in prayer for those who have obligations where they can't
be able to do that.
So I try to, I won't say take that on myself like I'm some sort of hero or anything, but it does come to my mind that I know that that's not possible for a lot of people. I mean, there's some people that can't even fast at all.
Not a hero, sister, but one that, in a way that is our responsibility,
right? As a religious,
take on that extra bit. Because we're not. But I know what yours not supposed to be anyway. I know I experienced the same thing being down in Lubbock, the seminary, and Father being one year he went to Kentucky for Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Eve and midnight mass there. So, waking up and on Christmas morning, going to chapel, saying office, my prayers, and didn't have to do schoolwork, and just kind of relaxed the morning and kind of just enjoyed the peace and quiet, my nice cup of coffee. And it was a nice day. I didn't feel at all lonely.
Right. It's
it was weird, surreal, maybe felt surreal, but no, it is what it was. It was what it was.
It was what it is.
It was what it is. It's what it could be.
And again, that is part of the religious life. I mean, I really do hope someday that there will be others here joining me, and it will make me think of the movie Trouble with Angels. One of my favorite parts in that movie is a scene where, because the story is about a girls' boarding school. It's Franciscan sisters teaching, and one of the students couldn't go home for Christmas season, I should say. And so she was there, and she saw the sisters gathering at midnight in the chapel singing all together, and it was just really beautiful. So you know, that would be kind of cool to do. You'll have your own new tradition. So I don't necessarily look like what I. Obviously, when you go into religious life, you're giving up the world, you're giving stuff up. But I don't really look at it as like I lost anything. I have those memories. A lot of those things really shaped me for where I am today. And it's just a different opportunity and a chance to grow. I mean, what you had one year might be different the next. And that's even for those out in the secular world. We know this. Logically, we know that, hey, was a really great year, but it could be so different next year. And it's best just to kind of like go with the flow too. I mean, have certain traditions, but let them
play out, let them pan out. And if they do, they do, they don't, they don't. And, you know, just never forgetting the high and ultimate goal of all of these traditions, all of these celebrations, and it's the greater honor and glory of God. And that's gotta be the center of it all. That's why, you know, like you said, being a religious, you just your outlook changes and you appreciate what you have on Christmas Day when you're able to go attend mass, you're able to take part. Well, especially now for me, being able to take part in the celebration of mass itself. It's such a solemn and sacred evening, and to be able, you know, like I travel on Christmas Day. I go to St. Joseph's Mission and St. Joseph's Chapel, excuse me, and that's my day. That's you know, that is my time, and that's how I'm supposed to spend the day.
But at least when you're driving, you can listen to Christmas music.
Well, last few years I've listened to actually that usually airing like the Christmas Carol or even It's a Wonderful Life.
That's pretty cool.
And apparently there was one where it was Jimmy Stewart who did a radio broadcast. It was pretty good. Yeah. So I different ways, and you know, it's
still an exciting time.
It is, and I think you always got to have that sense of wonder and that sense of just. I don't want to say, you know, feel the magic. You know, say, what do you mean by magic? You know, if you want to say like what is magic, you know, if you want to use it in like the understanding of Tolkien's world, magic and virtue are synonymous. And focus on the virtue of the season. Focus on those things that are promoted most highly. Focus on the babe of Bethlehem.
Yes.
That's, you know, that's when we talk about these hymns, those that we enjoy. We talk about our memories. If all these memories can just direct you back to Christ, even if those are the memories that you regret somewhat, that, man, I could have done better. I could have been less selfish. I could have been less worldly. I could have given more to Christ. Well, that's a good memory too, in the sense that now it's making you think and long for Christ more.
Right. Shape you. Absolutely.
And these are the things that shape us and help us grow. And there's so much more we could talk about with Christmas.
Yes.
But I think we will just leave it there, sister. And, you know, we could keep talking. I could keep talking, but just, I hope we can inspire, you know,
and maybe put some people Christmas at ease, you know, because like we brought up before, especially the Catholic parent today, it is hard. You know, every decision you make, you're scrutinizing yourself, and then of course other people are probably like, well, why would you do that? And not, you know, and it's like, well, you're not living their life, and you know, there's too much of that. Well, back in my day, you know, we didn't do that. Like, sure. I believe you.
But Chris, this is a time. This is a holy and sacred time of year, and even though is not put a bit of silver, a scrap of gold in my pocket, I'm going to say Christmas has done me good, and will do me good, and I say, God bless it.
Very nice, Father.
Oh, okay, a little Dickens there.
Yes, the Christmas Carol. Well, maybe we can talk about that.
There you go. We'll talk about that another time.
Yes, because there is some really good messages in there. So
very wonderful messages in the Christmas Carol. So I will and as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. Deo gratias.
Deo gratias.